Was that the bite of 87?
What is that? Is that coming from the drain? Or?
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Markiplier, is that you?
577 Tyrannosaur.
Kentucky Ballistics?
I will sue
or
sex
AK
and
guy?
YouTube mother lovers.
Where would these lies come from?
Amberlyn Reed, are you... Amberlyn, are you coming back?
Trouble, 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 trouble.
Yeah, you got in trouble, you got demonetized and you left, but are you coming back to YouTube?
He won't let me.
Mr. Boo.
Hi there, I'm Pennywise the Sexy Clown, and hi there, I'm Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru, Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru right here on YouTube. And in this video, that's right, we are delving deep into the lore of the town of Derry, Maine, from the Stephen King universe, from the book and the mini movies and the new TV show. That is right, we are delving into the town of Derry. Welcome to Derry. Welcome to Derry, the TV show, has just wrapped up with its finale. Again, we only got 8 episodes. I don't know what this is with the short seasons, but hey, in 8 episodes, they did this justice, and we're here to talk about it. From everything from the story and plot lines to the acting and the special effects and the ties into the original franchise / book. The lore is there. We will give a spoiler-free review, and then at the end, we were going to talk about some things that unfortunately will spoil this for you if you didn't see it. So like they say, some things in Derry just don't stay unspoiled. So, well, you might want to leave before Derry spoils your day, much like the children who live there. So let's get into this review without further ado. Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru, this is Welcome to Derry. And welcomed with wide arms we were from episode 1's very start to the very ending of episode 8's post-credit scene. We were welcomed straight into hell. We were welcomed into Derry, and we wish we could leave and forget, like Derry tends to make people do. But we're not forgetting anytime soon, because yes, again, only 8 episodes. I don't know what it is about these short seasons now in television and streaming, but within 8 episodes, they did their job from start to finish. We were on a high that never ended until that very moment we saw it tie into the actual films. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, it tied right in. And now we're just, it's like we left Derry and we're slowly forgetting and we're trying to remember. We want it. Welcome to Derry Chapter 2, and we want it now. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this show was perfect. Welcome to Derry takes place 27 to 28 years prior to the events of it, Chapter 1, and it ends right at the beginning of those events happening again, right after Pennywise's normal feasting, temper tantrum, and nappy time. So, why is this show so great? Well, for one, it's made by the same people that did it, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. They love Stephen King. They have a feel for this horror genre. And then also Bill Skarsgård is back as Pennywise. You just can't have Pennywise without Bill Skarsgård. It's perfect. And thankfully he got the role again because some of his other movies weren't doing so well. And I love the man as an actor, and I love him as Pennywise. And he did a brilliant job delivering time and time and time and time again in this film series. 8 episodes of pure magic, pure horror, pure nightmare-fueled. It's perfect. We got to learn the lore of Pennywise. We got to learn why he is the clown. We got to see another group of children be tortured and tormented. We got to see the black spot happen. Now, honestly, Ironworks explosion, the Easter thing, it happened. And the gang slaughter had already happened. And we know that Pennywise had to do or was feeding off of everything that happened there. And we actually get to see him feed off the chaos that is the black spot. We get to hear about these children's pasts and things that have happened. And of course, Pennywise, especially down to a certain factory accident, tortures a little girl with the loss of her father. It's brilliantly written, and the plot line is really good. It takes characters from Stephen King's universe, and it literally plays with them till the end, and then literally sends them into the next book, basically. We'll talk about that later. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta talk the story and the plot and the buildup. Okay, you don't even really see Pennywise till episode 5 because Bill did it again. That's right, Mr. Skarsgård hid himself from the children till episode 5 to get a authentic, genuine reaction to him in person, in character. And it's great and it's perfect. But all the things leading up to that, the things leading up to that were so scary. And the acting was so well done. These children, they know how to act. These children need some sort of children's actors award, because you feel their fear, you see their fear, you hear their fear. The adults, I've never gotten such an uneasy feeling of the citizens of Derry than I have in this whole franchise, really. But in this TV show, especially, the people with their smiles and their quick bipolar emotional changes that happen, because let's face it, he landed and he's in the water. Okay, guys, he's in the sewer system. The parents, the adults, their parents and their grandparents and any animal probably that is drinking this water is corrupted in some way, shape, or form by Pennywise. And these people act it so well. The parents of these children, the people playing these parents, the people in these situations, including racial situations. It was the 1960s, guys. There are some things that are a little difficult to watch, but they brought it all to life really well, and they told a really good story. The acting gets a 5 out of 5 in my book, especially Mr. Skarsgård. But the setting and the story, that's where it was at too, because it felt like Derry, Maine. And that's what I'm trying to get at is yes, the acting was good. The plot was good. Everything came together so well that it just made everything feel so real, so just there. Like it literally brought you in, like Pennywise offering a red balloon. The acting, 5 out of 5. The setting and the plot and story, 5 out of 5 across the board. And that brings me to the effects. Special effects nowadays are not really what they should be. They are expensive. We are in a time of economic decline. We see that even HBO Max itself is trying to sell itself to either Netflix or Paramount or Tubi's little $25 bid. I love that. I love it. But we see that people are partnering up. Okay, we see that The Sims, the game The Sims, is doing SpongeBob. We see Fortnite is now working hands-on with Quentin Tarantino for Kill Bill. People have to work together to earn that money because we're just in such a bad time. But I gotta say, the effects, both practical and digital, they looked spot on. I did not ever get taken away from any of the experience. I literally thought all of this was happening in front of me. I wasn't taken out of it at all by thinking, that looks a little computer generated. Nothing in this film series, this streaming series, looks computer generated. And at times when you think it kind of does, it almost fits the atmosphere they were going for. Everything about this show is beautiful. I'm talking the scenes, or the scenery, the setting, the plot line, the story, the acting, and all of the special effects. And everything that ties into the Stephen King universe, every character and everything that goes on to literally drive us right into the story of It Chapter 1. Now here's where I have to give a spoiler warning, all you looky-loos. We're going to talk about the lore a little bit. We're going to talk about the dancing clown and some other things that connect to that movie. So here's your warning, losers. All right, I had to. Sorry, a little cheesy, but I had to. Here's your spoiler warning from Pennywise himself. Let's get in to the lore. Just a little bit about Pennywise himself. We get to see him hit and crash land. We get to see his forms like that of a killer moose, of a great elder, just wicked looking moose, and several other things when he is actually showing himself to the Indians, the Native Americans who actually went. And we learn the lore of why he's trapped in Derry, why he has to nap for 20-something years at a time. They use his own meteorite, his own asteroid against him. Now, we do know this from It Chapter 1 and 2, but we get to see it happen. We get to see what happens when the actual settlers, the white men, come from England and everything and start, cowboying it up, being pioneers. We get to see what he does to them, how he appeared to them. We get to see why a clown. There was actually a man, and we got to see this in It Chapter 2, but we get to see more of it. There's actually a performer at a circus and freak show who does the Pennywise, the dancing clown persona, and we get to see more of his daughter, Mrs. Kirsch, as she was in It Chapter 2. And at the end of It, Welcome to Derry, there is a child. He's acting like a child, and he comes up to the man on a smoke break, and he's sitting there drinking. The he's not all well put together, but he is Pennywise the dancing clown. And what does the space entity see in this? Why, he approaches the man and says, "Children seem drawn to you." And he says, "That's a funny thing for a kid your age to say." Then all of a sudden you hear screams, and he asks, "Who is that?" He said, "It's my mom. She needs help." He leads him to the woods. The man is gone. This man, I believe, whose name is Bob Gray, correct me in the comments down below if I'm wrong, he is now officially this space demon entity that eats children, and he has now gathered everything he needs to lure kids because he is now Pennywise, the dancing clown. It's great. We got to see how he was defeated by a different group of children. We got to see how the military wanted to militarize him and use him as a weapon because the general saw him as a kid. He wanted to use fear and destruction and devastation to end the Cold War. He wanted to put a leash on a giant space demon clown. You can't put a leash on a giant space demon clown. And that brings me to the space stuff. The turtle. The galactic turtle was mentioned time and time again. There was also people who go later on in life to become an entity much like or of the same species as Pennywise the dancing clown. And they show up in the books and show and everything of the Two Towers. Now that brings me to all the other connections. Settle in, we're almost done, but we got to talk about these connections. This show was 5 out of 5 stars, 100% fresh in my book. Let's get to these tie-ins, and then I got to get out of here so that I can forget this place ever existed. Let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about the character Dick Halloran, spelled Halloran, not Halloran. This character is a psychic in the series Welcome to Derry, and he worked at the Overlook Hotel as the head chef, and his experiences in Derry with Pennywise in Stephen King's It, specifically the novel, and now, most recently, the good old series, It, Welcome to Derry. Now, his character, this actually happened to his character. It happened before he went to the Overlook, where at the Overlook, he was showing his protective nature towards shiners, or psychics. I'm talking The Shining, everyone. If you don't know the Overlook Hotel, you got to read or watch The Shining. You got to learn about The Shining. So this all happened before his experience with supernatural evil, long before he ever went to the hotel and ran into Danny Torrance. So I'm going to go over some key points. We've got the connection that is now confirmed in the season finale. Halloran's time in Derry, it was depicted in it. His role at the Overlook and The Shining, they're all part of the same character's timeline in this Stephen King universe. See, way before he was at the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. Well, Derry came first. He was stationed in Derry while he was an army cook in the 1920s, where he encountered Pennywise and helped Mike Hanlon's father, which explains his downright protective instincts towards, Danny. He then, at the Overlook later, became the chef at the Overlook Hotel. And this was recognizing Danny's shining ability. He recognized Danny's shining ability and was warning him about the hotel's dangers. See, Halloran had been through it. Halloran used his kinetic and psychic powers to mess with Pennywise, to locate Pennywise for the army and the government. And I knew the name sounded familiar. And at the end, we get confirmation because the man is leaving Derry and his friend asks him, Mr. Hanlon asks him, where are you headed to? And he talks about going and helping a friend in the kitchen at a hotel. And he literally says, what's the worst that could happen in a hotel? I'm sorry. Your plight's not over, Mr. Hanlon. And you feel for this guy through the entire series, Welcome to Derry. This just tremendous weight of seeing dead people and having these psychic abilities. And now we know it's not over for him because he's going to the Overlook. But let's talk about the next character. In the Stephen King books and in It Welcome to Derry, Derry specifically does have so many characters. And we're going to move on to talk about Marge Truman. She is officially confirmed as the future Margaret or Maggie Tozier, the mother of Richie Tozier. Richie! Beep, beep, Richie. Beep, beep. From the It movies themselves. Pennywise himself actually reveals this connection in the season 1 finale, linking her past sacrifice of her love, Rich Santos, which is a child in this one, that actually saves her from the burning flames in the Black Spot incident. He dies of smoke inhalation, saving her. And later, as he's released by an Indian woman, and his ghost helps defeat Pennywise. Okay, they were lovers as kids. Okay, and Pennywise uses this to his advantage in the season finale to look her in the eyes and tell her of the future Losers Club. The member's very existence, her son Richie, named after Rich Santos, the friend that she lost during It Welcome to Derry, just days before she's face to face with him on a frozen lake while he's trying to escape because the military set him free. In this finale, Pennywise confronts Marge, showing her a picture of an adult Richie Tozier and calling her Margaret Tozier, making the link explicit. Then he whips out the missing poster Pennywise teases Richie with. The name, it's there. The connection is there. Marge's full name is Margaret, and in Stephen King's book, Richie's mother is Maggie Tozier. Both names being nicknames for Margaret. He even says, beep, beep, Maggie, beep, beep. Like basically saying, if I take you out, Richie won't be there to help take me out later. Richie Santos, a kid in Welcome to Derry, the one that died for Maggie, saving her life in the Black Spot fire, is who Richie is named after. And Pennywise knows of this. He knows of the future son named after Richie. This is creating a full circle moment for the franchise. And it gave me chills. It was, especially when he went beep, beep, Maggie, beep, beep. It was perfect. The cycle here, the revelation deepens the connection between the 1960s event in Welcome to Derry and the 1980s events in It, showing how the sacrifices and the choices of the past are directly shaping the damn future. This storyline Guys, it provides a crucial backstory for Richie Tozier, explaining the dang origins of his name and a significant part of his family history as revealed in this recent series. His family now has a deep-rooted history in Derry. This season finale went off. Let's keep it going. This new prequel series connects so well. It connects so directly to Chapter 1, also by revealing the origins of Pennywise's feeding cycles. And it introduces key families, like I just mentioned, with Richie and his mother. We also get to see the Hanlons, establishing a deep-seated evil in Derry and showing how events in 1962 set up Mike Hanlon's legacy and the town's reoccurring horror. This all leads into the Losers Club story from 1989. The links here. The Hanlon lineage. Mike's grandfather is in this show. He's mentally caged to Derry. The Maturin, again, like I said, that's that space turtle. The lore and setting up the specific events like the Black Spot fire that drove both the film's plots. There were key connections and characters here, and it's crazy to think because we had the Hanlon family. The series centers on Major Leroy Hanlon, the grandfather of Mike Hanlon from the films. This is explaining why the Hanlons are central to confronting its evil across multiple generations here. See, Mike Hanlon's roots, Leroy's presence, and the whole caged, trapped in Derry concept and Welcome to Derry, it all directly recontextualizes Mike's role as the town's librarian during the movies. He was the librarian and researcher in Chapter 1. See, Pennywise's cycle was also explored. The show explores a feeding cycle before the one in Chapter 1. It shows Pennywise awakening in 1962, and the show begins to continuously hint at its ancient origins, which establishes this 27-year pattern of feeding on and off that Pennywise has. We actually get to see the person he grabbed the form of Pennywise from. We get to see Bob Gray, the human form of Pennywise. Bob Gray appears, giving insight into the entity's preferred hunting guise seen in the films, because children are drawn to you. We then actually get to see the Black Spot and some other events that the series delves into. It covers historically a lot of the massacres and tragedies that were mentioned in Stephen King's original novel. It shows us how they kickstart. Okay, these events actually kickstart its feeding frenzies. And we know it feeds off pain and evil as well as the fear of children. It shows a love for Stephen King's multiverse because, again, it mentions the Maturin, the space turtle. The series expands on this cosmic turtle's mythology, and the little Easter eggs of him in there. Sorry, I mean, there was that explosion, but the mini Easter eggs in there about the turtle are amazing. It's a malevolent force within the It universe with more turtle imagery in this show than I've ever seen before. This significantly also links all of this to the Dark Tower. Not just The Shining, but the Dark Tower. Now let's talk Arrowhead, because the show mentions of a secret government project at the Arrowhead Motel, which is a tie-in that is broader Stephen King lore It is hinting at the military involvement with other realities, and we do know the military got involved in this and almost set a demonic space entity free from the clutches of Derry. The show, it shows us these fundamental events and characters. Welcome to Derry provides a historical backdrop and a historical lineage that explains the deep, dark-seated horror and those reoccurring patterns that the Losers Club ends up having to face in It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. The series finale, it includes a post-credits scene that is set in October, you guessed it, 1988, where a young Beverly Marsh, played again by Sophia Lillis, she's reprising her role from the original movies. Well, she is seen at the asylum where her mother, Elfrida Marsh, worked as a nurse. Okay? She worked as a nurse. Well, in this scene, it is revealed how she lost her mother because Elfrida Marsh ends up unaliving herself with a rope from the rafters in one of the rooms. And the character Miss Kirsch, Pennywise's daughter, Bob Kirsch's daughter, whom as an adult, after Pennywise manipulates and drives crazy, is being held in the insane asylum, walks in and sees Beverly and her father and her mother hanging there. Beverly encounters it in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. She actually then encounters the same woman in It Chapter 2 in Pennywise's daughter, or well, Bob's daughter. This is adding new context to the characters' appearances in the films. And both ladies repraised their roles. Unfortunately, the older of the two, after being able to make this cameo, passed away, I believe they said in June 2025. These are not the only characters. Before I let you go, here's some other things that tie in to It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. First off, we have the chief, the Sheriff Byers, or Bowers, right? Bowers, Sheriff Bowers. Let's just go down to his son and then his grandson. That's the grandfather of one Henry Bowers. So we've got the bully's grandfather, and he actually had a lot to do with the black spot, and obviously his son wasn't great to his son, and he passed it down. The Bowers family probably been drinking too much of that Pennywise infected water. But also, do you know that Betty Ripsom wasn't just a missing child in It Chapter 1, but she was also seen, and I mean the actress, of course, in It Chapter 2 as a bully. And now in It Welcome to Derry, there's a deeper connection or cylindrical nature that what dies in Derry doesn't always stay dead. See, her voice, the actress's voice, was said to be heard in the trailer. It was said that a specific creepy voice heard in a Welcome to Derry promo, people were identifying it as Betty Ripsom, and Patrick Hockstetter then confirmed, yes, her presence is in the series timeline, and it's going to expand upon her fate. Well, we do know she was a missing kid in the first movie, a bully in the second movie. Her voice was in the trailers. In essence, Betty Ripson's story is a cornerstone of Pennywise's reign in Derry. And her character, well, her character echoes in the Welcome to Derry show, including to deepen the dang lore and the horrors of the town. It includes, like I said, including her character, or a version of her character, or a past family member being played by the same woman. The town is being overtaken by Pennywise's fog. He's Pied Pipering the children out and into the world where he could be free and have all these children to feast on. And there's the lady who plays Betty Ripsom, probably playing her mother or grandmother, in a window of a shop, just smiling as evil as always. Ladies and gentlemen, they did a wonderful job. Welcome to Derry. If you are a Stephen King fan, if you are a horror fan, if you are an It fan, if you are a Pennywise, the Dancing Clown fan, this is the show you need to watch. This is the show of 2025, and I love The Bear. I love The Last of Us. I love entertainment. It's what I do, and if you like what I do, you know what to do. It's coming across that screen right now. The old like, subscribe, and notification bell ringing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 5-star show, okay? It went certified fresh, I believe, on Rotten Tomatoes. We want chapter 2. It's supposed to be a 3-chapter thing. Let's hope it goes that far. This, to me, is the show of 2025, coming at the very end of 2025, and just showing us what cinema can be. I don't even think Vecna and Stranger Things can come anywhere close to Pennywise, the Dancing Clown. And on that note, before all you stranger people get bringing you weapons and things at me, I do still love Stranger Things. Can't wait to watch that season finale when I get Netflix. But I think that this one has outdone every other show this year and is setting a high tier, a high podium. They are set way up there in the most hard to reach place, and I don't think they're going to be topped. Ladies and gentlemen, Welcome to Derry. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 100% Mr. Boo certified fresh. And until next time, well, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to forget about these events until I come back to Derry when chapter 2 hits. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around for this long video. I've been Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru, and as always, I am out.